Hello, children. Well, yesterday we got to an exciting part, didn't we, when poor old Danny's dad fell down a pit that had been dug in Hazelwood and broken his ankle, and Danny had managed to get him home by driving the baby Austin car and now needs to ring the doctor. So let's see what happens in Danny the Champion of the World. We pulled into the filling station and I parked the car right up against the workshop doors. I helped my father to get out. Then I held him round the waist as he hip-hopped the short distance into the workshop. Inside the workshop he leaned against the tool bench for support and told me what to do next. First I spread some sheets of newspaper out over the oily floor. Then I ran to the caravan and fetched 2 blankets and a pillow. I laid 1 blanket on the floor over the newspaper and I helped my father to lie down on the blanket. Then I put the pillow under his head and covered him up with a second blanket. Put the phone down here, he said, so I can reach it. And I did as he was asked. Okay. Oh dear, not comfortable without the bed, is it? Can I get you anything, Dad? What about a hot drink? Oh, no thank you, he said. I mustn't have a thing. I'm going to have an anaesthetic soon, and you mustn't eat or drink anything at all before that. But you have something. Go and make yourself some breakfast, then go to bed. I'd like to wait here till the doctor comes, I said. You must be dead tired, Danny. I'm all right, I said. I found an old wooden chair and pulled it up near him and sat down. He closed his eyes and seemed to be dozing off. My own eyes kept closing too. I couldn't keep them open. I'm sorry about the mess I made of it all, I heard him saying. I must have gone to sleep after that, because the next thing I heard was Doc Spencer's voice saying to my father, "Well, my goodness me, William, what on earth have you been up to?" I opened my eyes and saw the doctor bending down over my father, who was still lying on the floor of the workshop. My father once told me that Doc Spencer had been looking after people of our district for nearly 45 years. He was over 70 now and could have retired long ago, but he didn't want to retire, and his patients didn't want him to either. He was a tiny man with tiny hands and feet and a tiny round face. His face was brown and wrinkled, like a shriveled old apple. He was some sort of an elf, I used to think to myself each time I saw him. A very ancient sort of an elf with wispy white hair and steel-rimmed spectacles. A quick, clever little elf with a swift eye and a flashing smile and a fast way of thinking and talking. Nobody feared him. Many people loved him, and he was especially gentle with children. "Which ankle?" he asked. "The left one," my father said. Doc Spencer knelt on the floor and took from his bag a huge pair of scissors. Then, to my astonishment, he proceeded to slip the cloth of my father's left trouser leg right up to the knee. He parted the cloth and looked at the ankle, but he didn't touch it. I looked at it too. The foot seemed to be bent around sideways, and there seemed a huge swelling below the ankle bone. That's a nasty one," Doc Spencer said. "We'd better get you to hospital right away. May I use your phone?" He called the hospital and asked for an ambulance. Then he spoke to somebody else about taking x-rays and doing an operation. "How's the pain?" Doc Spencer asked. "Would you like me to give you anything?" "No," my father said. "I'll wait till I get there." "As you wish, William. But how on earth did you do it? Did you fall down the steps of that crazy caravan?" "Not exactly," my father said. "No." The doctor waited for him to go on, and so did I. "As a matter of fact," he said, "I was mooching around up in Hazelwood." He paused and looked at the doctor, who was still kneeling beside him. The doctor said. Yes, I see. And what's it like up there these days? Plenty of pheasants?" "Stacks of them," my father said. "It's a great game," Doc Spencer said, sighing a little. "I only wish I was young enough to have another go at it myself." He looked at me and saw me staring at him. "You didn't know I used to do a bit of poaching myself, did you, Danny?" "No," I said, absolutely flabbergasted. "Many a night," Doc Spencer went on, "after evening surgery was over, I used to slip out the back door and go striding over the fields to one of my secret places. Sometimes it was pheasants, and other times it was trout. Plenty of big brown trout in the stream in those days." He was still leaning on the floor beside my father. "Try not to move," he said to him. "Lie quite still." My father closed his tired eyes, and then opened them again. Which method did you use for pheasants? He asked. Gin and raisins, Doc Spencer said. I used to soak the raisins in gin for a week, then scatter them in the woods. Doesn't work, my father said. I know it doesn't, the doctor said, but it was enormous fun. One single pheasant, my father said, has got to eat at least 16 gin-soaked raisins before he gets tiddly enough for you to catch him. My own dad proved that with the roosters. I believe you, the doc said. That's why I never caught any, but I was hot stuff with trout. Do you know how to catch a trout, Danny, without using a rod and line? No, I said. How? You tickle him. Tickle him? Tickle him, I said. Yes, said the doc. Trout, you see, like to lie close onto the riverbank. So you go creeping along the bank until you see a big one. And you come up behind him and you lie down on your tummy. And then slowly, very slowly, you lower your hand into the water behind him and you slide it up and down underneath him, and you begin to stroke his belly. And he likes that tickle. Would it really let you do that, I asked. He loves it, the doc said. He loves it so much he sort of dozes off. And as soon as he dozes off, you quickly grab hold of him and flip him out to the water on the bank. That works, my father said, but only a great artist can do it. I take my hat off to you, sir. Thank you, William, Doc Spencer said gravely, and he got up off his knees and crossed over to the door of the workshop and looked out to see if the ambulance was coming. By the way, he said over his shoulder, what happened up there in the woods? Did you step in a rabbit hole? Slightly bigger than a rabbit hole, my father said. What do you mean? Asked the doc. My father began to describe how he'd fallen into an enormous pit. The doc spun round and stared. I don't believe him, he cried. It's perfectly true, asked Danny. It was deep, I said, horribly deep. But heavens alive, the little doctor shouted, jumping up and down. He can't do that. Victor Hazel can't go digging tiger traps in his woods for human beings. I've never heard such disgusting, monstrous thing in all my life. It's rotten, my father said. It's worse than that, William, said the doc said. It's diabolical. Do you know what that means? It means that decent folk like you and me can't even go out and have a little fun at night without risking a broken leg or arm. We might even break our necks. And my father nodded. And there we're going to stop today. And you'll have to find out what happened tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Bye.